Amir Hussein's clothing store has been closed to customers since Christmas Day. Inventory is barely moving and his business is hurting.
To open my doors again, I've been waiting for this moment since a long time.
The situation has improved in recent weeks.
With the number of new cases declining, the Quebec government announced some public health measures will soon be lifted.
It's calculated risk, and it's a balance also taking into consideration mental health and also the situation that we are in since 11 months.
Starting next week, non-essential stores, hair salons and museums can reopen, and college and university students could soon gradually return to in-person classes. The 8 p.m. curfew, in effect for nearly a month now, remains. But in some regions with few active cases, it will be pushed back to 9:30. Restaurants and gyms in those regions can reopen too, with restrictions.
It is very different from the situation of largest centers.
Catherine Jourdain manages a shopping mall on Quebec's North Shore. Most of the businesses in it are closed, despite only a handful of active cases in the region.
There's nobody. Restaurants are closed. It's really sad. So it will be a big relief for the shopping centers.
In other areas like Montreal, the situation is improving but fragile, and some experts say relaxing measures could threaten that.
With all the problems regarding vaccine adherence, it is a very risky moment. I would have waited a few more weeks.
But the government is trying to strike a balance now while it has some control on the virus, says this epidemiologist.
All governments are struggling to make all the other components of the life outside COVID-19 to be able to resume as much as possible while maintaining, again, the healthcare system.
And so, Allison, the loosening up plan seems to look different in bigger population centers. What's the thinking there?
Well, the province says keeping some of the measures in some of the more populated areas that have more cases is necessary to protect the healthcare system. And the Premier says that's part of the reason why some restaurants won't be able to reopen yet and why the curfew will remain in place. But some experts that we've spoken with say that the curfew is just one of a combination of measures that have likely helped to bring case numbers down.
All right, thank you, Allison. Allison Northcott in a snowy Montreal tonight.
Okay, now following along all of this, we have epidemiologist Raywat Deonandan. And to start, can you just give us your quick take on the easing of restrictions? Is it too soon or now is a good time?
Well, first, it's not just a public health issue. It's also an economics issue, a public education issue, and an issue regarding public tolerance. So from a strictly public health perspective, it probably is a bit too early, especially since the cases are coming down, but we're still above what the peak of the first wave was, and we have the threat of a new variant. Having said that, if we're going to do it, you have to do it probably in a strategic manner. The regional approach is probably well-founded because it has the greater public buy-in and probably more easily managed from an administrative perspective.
Right, which kind of leads me to my next question. If Quebec or any other province for that matter does loosen restrictions, what is it that you would want to see happen in conjunction with that to mitigate the risk as much as possible?
We need a lot more public health infrastructure in various institutions like workplaces and schools. We need constant surveillance, especially asymptomatic surveillance. Let's use our rapid testing capacity to that end. Otherwise, we're not really sure which maneuvers, which moves, which institutions are driving community transmission. Surveillance, surveillance, surveillance.
Okay, Raywat Deonandan joining us. And we're going to talk to you a little bit later in the program as well about variants. So we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.